Well, hello. I have been page hopping like crazy tonight, but now I'm back home where I belong at Claire Petulengro 1. And welcome, guys, to Lengro Late Night Live with the Lengro family. I'm Claire Petulengro. Good evening, Gail Rutherford. Have you page hopped with me? You're not going to want to miss tonight's show. And if you missed last night's show, then where were you? We had, of course, the most incredible paranormal show with the incredible Amanda Waring and Mitch Jenkins. And in fact, let me bring her on right now. Amanda.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Say hello. We've got so many people joining us tonight.
Yes, hello, Jan. Hi, Kim. I can see Gail and Helen and Nicola. Good evening. I hope you're feeling spooky and fruity.
Oh, tell me then about last night's show. What kind of a reaction did you get and how did you enjoy it?
Oh, I loved it. So last night, if any of you were not there, and why weren't you, as Claire said, Mitch and I did a paranormal show with all the extracts of spooky goings on, unusual experiences that people had that had sent in amazing kind of clips and views. And it went down like a storm. Everybody seemed to lap it up, and we're definitely going to do some more. Mitch and I had a great fun, and Mitch put it together brilliantly. All the effects were amazing, but we couldn't have done it without all of you listening, all of you giving suggestions. So yeah, I'm feeling really buoyed up today. I'm looking forward to the next part of it all. And that's why I said spooky and fruity, because we're coming up to May Day as well, where I will talk to you maybe a little bit later about a ceremony that I will be doing online, which will be celebrating not only our own blossoming, but our own exciting sexuality, arising passion, and facing the next part of our future.
See, I forgot. You know, I keep getting the time wrong because we used to go live at 7 o'clock. I keep forgetting we're after the watershed. We can kick back and like anything goes tonight as well. But do you know what I'm most pleased about tonight as well? We have a very important member of the Lengro family, of course. Our Sammy is here to join us tonight. Let's say hello to Sammy. There she is. Let me get the comment.
Hi.
So Sammy is the face, or that you don't normally see the face of Sammy, but this is Sammy as well, isn't it? And Sammy, you are the power behind Lengro. You keep us all in order and together as well, don't you?
Yeah, someone has to.
Someone has to as well. And of course, another member of the family as well, that it wouldn't be the same without, is the beautiful Jack. Good evening, Jack.
Hello, hi. Sammy, what an evening to make your debut with Amanda saying we're going to be talking fruity and passion.
Sounds fun.
I know. Yeah, but that's nothing compared to some of the Lengro chats that we have, is it? But it's after the watershed, so anything goes. It really does. And now, Jack, we did have some videos as well, didn't we? That we didn't get a chance to play last night, and there are going to be more paranormal shows, aren't there, Amanda?
Oh, there certainly will. Yeah, we're starting them soonish. We're just, resting on our laurels for a couple of days, maybe weeks before the next one comes, but we'll be getting back even bigger and better.
And if anybody missed them, they can always catch up because they're on Claire's page. So they're on there, so you can always catch up.
Actually, the amazing Sammy did something else with them. Where else can we find the paranormal video from last night, Sammy?
You can find it on Claire Petulengro 1 on YouTube.
See?
Nice.
Which is really good because you can watch it on your TV then. If you've got YouTube on your TV, you can watch it on that and it'd be amazing.
Oh, the wisdom.
But in actual fact, your mum saw a UFO, didn't she?
She did. So my mum used to be a nurse, and in one of the places where she used to be work, it was in the countryside. And one day she was coming home, going through the country lanes, and for some reason she just kind of stopped. She knew there was a reason she had to. She looked over towards the field where she was, and there was just these lights in the sky. She just kind of stood there looking, wondering what it was. I think she kind of knew, but do you know where you don't really want to believe what you're seeing? And then obviously as a nurse, you have your nurse's watch, and she's actually stood there staring for an hour and lost an hour of her life, basically. Doesn't know what happened, doesn't know anything that happened in that whole hour, literally. And I remember her telling us all about it when she came home. It was probably one of the best stories I've heard. Like, I couldn't believe it.
See, I love the UFO things, and of course, a lot of the thing is lost time, isn't it, that people find? But Jack, you've got some videos as well to show us as well, left over. So do you want to explain the first video, and we'll show it straight away? But I also want to know out there, do you know anyone that's lost time and has put it down to a UFO, or perhaps you've had a paranormal or UFO experience yourself? Do share it with us. But first of all, Jack's going to tell us about a little video that I'm going to play next. Jack, tell us about the video.
So which one? We've got the one at the White Horse. I think that's the first one, at the White Horse pub, which is quite near where I live in Hertfordshire. So yeah, there's a spooky tale about that one.
Okay, let's have a look at this.
So here we are now in Burnham Green, which is another little village in Hertfordshire, and behind me is the White Horse pub. Now, during the Civil War, Cromwell's troops actually caught and beheaded one of the king's men. They tried to capture his horse as a prize, but the horse put up such a struggle that they decided to behead the horse as well. And people in the area have said that there have been sightings of a headless horse roaming around these lanes.
Bring us back on again as well. I love that. I absolutely love that. So what was it like going? Did you feel spooky filming in those places?
Well, I go to those sort of places all the time, but so there is a spookiness about, you know, all those sort of pubs. There's another pub nearby, which when you go to I think a dead body was found buried behind the fireplace or something. But when you go to the toilet, it suddenly goes really, really cold when you go in there. It's bizarre. So there's a lot of, you can really feel it. And we did have a medium with us as well, if you watched it yesterday, who came along as well. And she saw like all sorts of things. She saw 3 women in the field with a pushchair, like old women. Yeah, she saw them clear as day.
I'm just thinking where the location was. So I'm trying to think where I buried my exes as to what. So it was behind the fireplace. It wasn't one of my exes. Was it one of yours, Amanda?
No, I don't think, because I know where they are. They're up north.
Oh, right then. I am looking for some more places for some, actually, if you can. Let's not waste any time. Let's find out some stories as well. If you've seen a UFO or had a paranormal experience, because you're looking for some more people to send in some more stories for the next show, aren't you, Amanda?
Indeed, and I can just see that Kim Gary says, yes, me, I have. Do you want to? Oh, and then Deborah as well. Yes. So Kim, we'll definitely come to you, darling. If you want to put anything in the chat to expand on that a little bit, then do let us know. And Deborah too, I liked her interesting dream. I had a dream of seeing UFO, and just as it was landing, I woke up. Oh.
That's no good. We don't want to hear the ones where you.
Well, I actually saw a UFO as well, and one of the videos that you're going to show is Sandra, who's my neighbour, who saw a UFO as well. There's been quite a few sightings. Kim Wilde, the singer, she lives not too far away, and she saw a UFO as well, which was reported in the local press. This was a few years ago now. But it's funny because when we all saw these UFOs, I think it was like, there was a time in 2008 where there was 200 reportings of one Saturday night when so many people had seen these UFOs. But we all saw different things. We didn't see it the same.
Yeah.
So, which was a bit strange, because what I saw was just, I was walking my dog and we were going into the field, and there was just a round kind of light in the sky. And it wasn't like a plane or anything, because it was just hovering. It was just above me. But there was little lights. Well, there was about 3 or 4 lights around it. And I have to say, I was absolutely terrified, because I just had no idea what it was. So I just got the dog and like rushed home. And all I could think was, oh my God, they've seen me. They're going to come and get me. You know, when people disappear and you know, funny circumstances, don't they?
I'm a great fan of Area 51, and now, of course, the government files have come out. Enough time has gone by. But here's a question that I want to ask you all, but I want to come to Sammy first. Sammy, if a UFO came down, would you want to get on board and have a ride, or would you be absolutely petrified?
Oh, part of me is saying I would like to get on, because I'm inquisitive, you know. I want to know what's in there, but it depends if they're going to drop me back home after.
You're such a family orientation person with Josh and Lily May that you probably want to make sure you got home in time to cook tea for the kids, wouldn't you?
I'm sure they could do something. It'd be all right.
But you wouldn't want to go then. You'd have been scared, yeah?
I don't know. Part of me would be scared, but part of me would really want to know what was on there. And
You say
see what
that,
it
you
is.
say that, Sammy, because I'm like you. I love anything paranormal and whatever, and I'm not scared of anything. You know, any horror film, you can show me anything, I'm not scared. And if somebody had asked me that, I would have said, "Oh God, yeah, I'd love to get up close." But when it's actually there and it's happening,
Yeah.
they're going to come and get me in the night while I'm asleep, and no one's ever going to see me again. It is honestly terrifying.
I will
Really
tell
is.
you something that happened to me in Spain that was really odd. In the paranormal show, I mentioned a thing about happening in Spain, but on losing time. But this is actually another story. And there seemed to be a lot of this sort of strange UFO activity out in Spain. And I was in this incredible old villa house, and all the doors, what they did, the windows, they lock them all, the shutters from the inside.
Yeah.
And in the night, all the shutters and everything was wide open. And I'd had this awful dream where invaders had come in and were trying to take me and my partner. And when we woke up in the morning and we saw that, we thought, how did that happen? But also on the ceiling, and this was so freaky, on the ceiling were just footprints, like somebody had stomped all over the ceiling in muddy boots, which was like, that wasn't there in the morning. I mean, that wasn't there. You know, what has gone on? It wasn't like a prank. It wasn't like there were people around that we knew or knew us or anything like that. Just really, really odd. And then we'd always feel when we were up to the little top tower of this villa, that we just didn't want to be seen. Like Jackie said, we were kind of like bending down. No, don't see us. There's nothing here, nothing to see. But I would like to go up if I could guarantee that I'd come back in one piece and not be interfered with.
I think it's crazy to believe that we're the only people in this universe. And I think that we have been visited before. I think we'll continue to be visited before. And there are certain towns, and I can't name them in case I offend someone, which I think are probably full of aliens from the kind of people as well. I really, really do. But let's take a look at another video that we've got as well, Jack, that you did as well. Let's have a little look at this. This is one, I'm just going to play it and you can explain it afterwards. Here you go.
Right, so here we are at Mardleyberry Pond, and this is Mardleyberry Pond. Now, years ago, a lady came in a horse and cart, and as she was coming round the corner in front of us, he was going too fast, and she got thrown off and landed in the pond and drowned. Now, as rumour has it, there's a strange white mist that goes across this pond, and she kind of floats about around here, and there's been quite a few sightings of her, believe it or not. So yeah,
I'm going to have a little wander around, see if I can see anything, or if I can see anything, because you never know. If she's around all the time, this mist.
Yep, she's supposed to be here all the time, so.
Oh my goodness gracious me.
And Donna was never seen again after that.
Amanda, tell me about Beltane.
Oh, yes. Okay. So we have May the 1st. That is May Day. And I'm going to read you a little something actually about Beltane from the old traditions, because we used to have, we go around the maypole, which is a symbol of phallic symbol and fertility and all of that. So I love this thought that they used to have the young men, it's called leaping the fires. They used to leap through the fires to bring good luck and protection to their livestock. And the old folk would slowly walk around the fire muttering prayers. Or a man about to take a long journey or get married would leap backwards and forwards 3 times through the Beltane fire for luck. And as the fire sunk low, the girls jumped across it to make sure they would obtain good husbands. And pregnant women would step through it in hopes of an easy birth. And mothers even carried their children across the smouldering ashes for their health and protection. And when the fire died down, the embers were scattered throughout the fields for good luck. And while each household carried some back to kindle the new fire in the hearth, then when the sun rose, those who'd stayed up to watch it might be seen dancing for joy 3 times upon the horizon before leaping up in all its summer glory. So it's about, we're kind of leaping almost into summer. We're calling summer in. People used to go and sing on the for the villages and bring May boughs and in exchange for food and lodging. And it's a time of real thrusting forward, really letting your hair down, love all night if you choose to, you know, but just celebrating being alive, coming alive. So if people want to, they can join me on my page or Amanda Wearing Celebrant. I haven't put details up yet, but I will be doing a virtual Beltane fire, and we'll have to do this a little bit virtually so no one will get singed or burnt, and there'll be no making love at that time. But we will be celebrating the male and female aspects of ourselves, and we will really be whispering our wishes into the flames and celebrating all our good wishes for the next hot, fiery summer light.
Love it. If you haven't seen one of Amanda's ceremonies, then you don't know what you're missing. If you look at the bottom of the page, scrolling along here, you can see where to get tickets for it. Chrissy Wheatley says, hello, ladies. Sorry I'm late. I was busy being domesticated. Very, very impressed, Chrissy. But Kim Gary intrigues me. Now, I don't know if you're aware or not, but our Lengros now are going to be... Sammy, what time are our Lengro lives now on a Wednesday and Saturday?
They're at 9 o'clock.
So at 9 o'clock on a Wednesday and Saturday, you can find us ladies, the Lengro family, on a Wednesday and Saturday, 8 o'clock. Kim Gary, I would like to invite you to come on next week to tell us your stories, because you've said, I've seen them, Claire, for real. Aliens, that is. Hence, that's why I think I told you my story. If I told you my story, people would have me committed. I've had a few encounters. First, when I was 7, could you please message our lovely Amanda Waring, who's in charge of shows, and we'll try and bring you on next week. So perhaps you can come on live and talk about that as well. I think that'd be absolutely fabulous.
I look forward to that, Kim. Thank you. And we do have a white van waiting outside for you as well. We have one regularly for all Lengro guests. It's Sammy, it's paid for, isn't it, darling? It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
All hail Sammy.
Yes. Always up for all of us there. Kim Gary says it's a bit like jumping the broomstick. Now, if you know anything about Romany gypsies, you'll know that we do jump the broomstick, but also we can walk over fire. We also bind by blood when we get married. And I think that certain rituals that we have for certain things that go back, they all have meaning. And there's lots of things that we can discuss about paranormal in the future. Eric von Dankian, of course, Stonehenge, the pyramids. There's so many different facts as well. Let's have a little look.
Claire, can you do that thing like that you do on Practical Magic? You know, when they jump off the roof with the broomsticks and fly. Can you do that?
You know that's how I get to our meetings. When we meet. Hold on a second. Sorry, let me just stop that. I've just seemed to have lost.
Amazing. That's one of the aliens trying to get in contact with you right now.
I know it is. I told him our date is at 10 o'clock, not right now. Les Anthony says, alien abductions. I've heard some people come back with strange chips embedded within their bodies. I actually spoke to a doctor who swears that he removed a chip that could not be identified from somebody's body that couldn't have got there anywhere else. Sammy, can you read this comment out for me as well, please, from the lovely Chrissy?
Yeah, my brother.
Yes, sorry, go on.
My brother used to decorate our hair with flowers, and dresses were beautiful for May Day for dancing around the maypole.
Oh, that's nice.
I used to go to Sweden for the May Day festivals, and we used to drink some sort of vodka shots, and we used to make our own floral crowns and wear them to have the most amazing dinners and food with, and absolutely lovely. Here you go, Jack. Can you read Kelly Elizabeth, please?
Yep, I have a modern flying machine. It's called the Dyson.
I'd like a Dyson. I really would one day. We talked about Beltane. Let's have a little look what else we had there. I want to know, what paranormal facts do you guys know that we might not? Maybe you can educate us as well. Leslie Anthony saying Beltane blessings to everyone. Astrologically, I wanted to tell you as well, we have what's called an Earth trine tomorrow. And that means it's really good actually for sorting out our finances, so we can afford to buy a new outfit when the aliens pick us up. It also means that honesty is a key to sorting out money problems this weekend as well. Frankie Payne's got a question. Amanda, could you read that for us?
Does anyone believe that space aliens are breeding with humans and making human hybrids?
I do.
You know what? I wouldn't put it past anyone. I mean, I think what's so amazing about this world is that there is so much that we cannot explain. And there is so much that is being hidden, and there is so much that needs to be unearthed. And as long as we live and leave room for the mystery, and are tolerant of everybody's views, I think then, you know, we could live, all of us, a more celebratory, magical life. I think it's sad when people are just hard, cold facts all the time and don't leave any space for the unexplained. That's a dull life for me. But that's just me, I guess.
I believe that. Of course, you can take this to a whole another level, and there are a lot of people that believe that there is a hollow earth, and inside the earth there are aliens and other species living there as well. So we could take this to any level that we want to. We really, really could. And Frankie Payne says there's so much that's being hidden. So, you know, and also Leslie Anthony's asking if we all have a double. Do you think you've got a double?
Oh, that's amazing. I don't know. I don't know. I would be very frightened if I met my double. I don't know what.
Yeah, well, you know what that means as well. There's double of the husbands that you killed and buried under the patio. So there's a double out there.
Not a digging. I have really strong arms for that. I really, really would. So, Sammy, I've got to ask you, now that you're finally live on Lengro, what's it like looking after your Lengro family? What kind of a job is it?
Oh, I love it. You're all amazing. Honestly.
You just say that, like she's just saying that. Kelly Elizabeth,
No,
I love
the script you sent her, Claire. That's all she's doing.
Read the scripts, they were great. Too much is hidden away. There's definitely more than us. And Kelly Elizabeth, don't tell that to my son. He believes he's an alien. Suppose it's my fault, as I told him the trampoline was a UFO's landing pad as well.
Oh, I just love that. I think I did something similar to my boy.
Kelly Elizabeth says, can my double come and do my housework? Wouldn't that be amazing? Amanda, I'm going to let you cover because I've just got to find another video that Jack recorded. So if you want to carry on for me.
Yeah, of course. So just talking a little bit more about the paranormal show that we did last night, there were other things that came in. People were talking about not only, I suppose, ghosts that were seen that were really positive. So something that wasn't scary. So something that gave people a sense of life after death, something that was not just eerie, but something profoundly supportive. So I don't know if any of you out there has had that feeling or has felt or seen something where you go, yes, that is giving me a sense of hope of life after death, or that is giving me a sense of love coming through. Certainly for me, I had an amazing experience, and I will never forget this, and I talk about it in the show. But it was a gentleman that came through this extraordinary ball of light, and became almost a full-bodied, you know, solid figure beside me at the bed. I wasn't asleep, I was awake, with a cloth cap and a big beard, and smiling at me and trying to speak. And I felt this real benevolence coming from him, and that there was something he wanted to say. And then I was in this trance, and I went down the stairs to this sort of library of this house, pulled out a book, and there was this gentleman, and he was a poet and an author. So he was definitely, for me, somebody that was giving me some guidance or advice. So have any of you out there felt or seen your spirit guides? If you believe in spirit guides, have you seen fairies in the gardens? Have you experienced anything? In fact, I'm going to ask you guys. So Sammy, first, darling, have you seen any little sprites or anything like that in the natural world?
Not in the natural world, no, but I've had an experience that really made me question everything.
Oh.
I did do an article on it, so I don't know if you read it, but it was when I was about 14, 15, and it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I just kind of woke up. I thought it was my older brother coming from a night out, and I was like, you could have knocked, but nothing said anything, and nothing moved, and they were it was like the back was against the door frame, and they were just rested, and I sensed it was a man. They were tall, but I wasn't scared. They were just there. I did kind of grab the cover, put it over my head, and looked, and they were still there. I did it again, and then they went. So they were so clear. It was honestly, that's why I thought at first it was my brother. And ever since then, I lived in a house that was very much active anyway, but that really made me think that there was definitely someone there looking over me.
Oh, amazing.
She's such a...
Sorry, James, that activated your interest in the paranormal?
I think because I lived in a house that was very active all my life, I kind of always had an interest anyway. But I think when you see it like that as well, I think it really does make you question things, doesn't it?
Sammy, did that make you an empath? Because you're very much an empath, or was it something you were born with, or is it something that happened through your experiences that you had?
I've been through a lot in my life, and I think maybe life experiences have kind of given me, but I think I've always been like it as well. I think it's just been ignited.
Yeah, I mean, let's take things to another level as well, because hand on my heart and on my children's life, let me tell, or my children's lives, because I've got 4 of them. When my father died, we hired a boat to take his ashes out to sea. And I took a pink rose for my father, and my mother took a red rose. And as we put his ashes to sea, my mother threw the red rose over the boat, and I threw the pink rose after her over the boat. And a seagull came down, and it picked up the red rose in a salute, and it dropped it into the sea. It then came and dived again. It picked up my pink rose, and it came into the sky, and it dropped it. And ever since then, when I see seagulls, and this is interesting because Adele's talking about, and people are talking about seeing their sort of loved ones in animals. I believe hand on my heart that I see my father as a seagull, and he visits me. And so I've got this very protective thing about seagulls. But, you know, do you believe that your loved one's spirits go into other things? I certainly do. And it can be an animal as well. Have you had any experiences like that? Because I know that I was 21, I'm 49 now, that was a very much a turning point in my life for me being 100% sure that we transform our spirits into another vessel, if you like. Yeah. Have you had any experiences? Yeah.
Jack, what about you, darling? Have you had experiences of that? Because I know Frankie Payne's had something there she was talking about. But for you,
not anything like that. I'm still not sure about you know, like we've seen robins and things like that. So I have so many robins in my garden. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not quite sure about that. But I think my husband, when he passed away, because I'm terrified of bees and wasps, and I don't think he leaves me feathers. I think he actually sends bees and wasps. Because when I go to his grave or somewhere, if I'm walking somewhere, suddenly this bee will come out of nowhere, and it's kind of like a joke. You know, that's the sort of thing he would do. He would think that was like really, really funny. I remember getting stung by a bee once, and he thought it was like the funniest thing ever. So that's the sort of thing I think he would do, rather than send me a feather. You know? Jack,
is that the reason that you bought Gucci bee trainers?
No, I didn't buy the ones with the bee on it. I couldn't bring myself to buy the one with the bee in it. No.
I love it. Frankie here says, when my granddad died, I actually saw almost instantly his spirit lift. Absolutely with you on that one as well.
Go on. When my granny died, I was with her, you know, to the end, and I felt her spirit leave about, I would say, about 10 hours before the body actually passed. I just felt this whoosh, and I knew she'd gone. And so that was really amazing and really comforting and interesting to see that the body energy still kept the body going, but her physical life force was not in it anymore. And just feeling that separation meant it was really easy for me to say goodbye to the physical body.
Yeah.
And, you know, I work a lot, you know, with different people in different areas who've passed over, and I've seen so many extraordinary things, even down to a rainbow light. So when I'm working with people that are dying, I'll call in the rainbow light. But a bit like, I think it was Jack, you know, you saw the energy from the healer on the horse, that beautiful rainbow light. I will see that in people's rooms, and people will physically see that light coming in. So, and for me, when my son's granddad died, he was literally, we come back from his passing, and there on the gate post was a barn owl. And a barn owl is really, really, really special to me and my son. And we haven't seen one for so long. And there it was. And the barn owl flew along the kind of the field at the back of our house, and we followed it. It was so, again, we were like in a little other world. We followed this barn owl, and it landed in the middle. And in fact, I'm going to show you all. It's really interesting, if I can. It landed in the middle of our field. And I'm going to show you that painting up there. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see?
I hope you haven't got any underwear on anything that we're going to see, like drying or anything there, man.
There's a painting of a field there, and that field was what his grandfather was going to be painting, with Ben in the middle of it. And this barn owl landed completely in the middle of that painting because it was unfinished. he never finished it before he died. But this barn owl came down, landed in the middle of where he was painting my son in that field, and then the barn owl didn't come up again. It just wasn't there. But as we sort of wondered, where has it gone? We looked to the right-hand side, and there were 3 deer, like a mother and 2 little babies, that like a Disney film. This was ridiculous. It was like a Disney film. They popped their heads up and kind of looked at us. It was so magical. And then just as we walked back, in our path was a massive hedgehog, which we'd never seen before, like a live big hedgehog. And Ben said, Mum, I know these things happen to you, but again, because I've seen them myself, I believe in it. This is so amazing. And he rang everyone in the family, and it just gave him such a lift. And, you know, my brother's quite cynical and said, oh, you know, that's just coincidence and blah, 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 blah. But you can tell with the energy of what you feel when you see something to know, is that just a robin hopping around, or actually there's something slightly different with it. So, yeah, I love these stories.
But do you know what? As a gypsy, you meet people that have never had a reading that completely believe in it, and meet you and, you know, believe in everything, and they've had no experience. And I find that odd. But I find that when you've proven yourself to people they've had experiences, I think that, like Jack being skeptical, then it's been proven, that's fine. But being a gypsy, I know that when we've lived in vardos, in caravans, you see nature and you think about it. We're in houses and we watch TV and we don't listen to the outside sounds. In the private members club earlier, I was talking about sounds and smells. When you pay attention to nature, think about how when the birds know when to migrate, think about how when animals know to hibernate, when the flowers open up. We are governed by the skies. You know, astrology is the mirror image of life upon this planet, using the patterning of the planets in our solar system, as above, so below. And I covered your face earlier, Sammy, and I had to take it off because I didn't want to cover your beautiful face. But can you just read this as well from Chrissy, please?
I've seen a little boy about 3 years old. The light around him was so bright in the alley at the back of my house. And I asked if he was all right, and he said yes, and faded into the fence.
See, that's just given me goosebumps as well. That really, really has. And let's have a look. I had some really, really good.
Oh, yeah, there's one here.
Can you, go for that, Jack.
Okay, this is from Nicola. When I lost my daughter, for months, I always saw her standing up and pointing her finger at me. She was only 5 months old when she passed, but a friend explained that it was my guilt because I couldn't save her that I was seeing. She is now 39 in the spirit world, and she looks beautiful.
Okay, I would say that was not guilt at all. I think that's an awful thing for somebody to say. And can I just say, if you've been carrying that around with you for years, thinking it was guilt, no, Sammy, what do you think of that?
No, not at all. No, I feel, no, you need to let go of that. It was most definitely not that at all.
Yeah. Jack, look at this one. Can you read this one?
Ooh. Also, this is from Kim. Also, I was in a coma for 14 weeks and I see people pass over and their loved ones coming to get them. But also my guides took me somewhere, only what I can call a golden room, where all the people were being healed. Lots more, but I'll save that.
So when I do readings, if you think about it, I've been doing readings since I was a little girl. So many people that have had near-death experiences have all told me that they saw a light and they saw flowers. Now, my father was married to a gypsy. He was a gorger, a non-Romany, and he didn't believe that anything happened when we died. And yet when my father was dying of cancer, and he was drug-free at the time, he turned around to me and he said, Claire, he said, I've seen it. He said, I've seen the most beautiful light. I've seen the flowers. I know where I'm going and I want to go. And that for me was my affirmation, because we can argue till we're blue in the face, but you know what? Nobody can win the argument till we're gone.
And also, there's another interesting point to this that I was thinking the other day, is that maybe, you know, we all, as in life, we all have our own paths. Well, maybe in our passing, we all have our own paths and realities within that. And that would be really extraordinary to sort of think about, that, okay, you know, do we go, does everybody go somewhere completely separate that relies on their own faith and imagination? Is that where that will take them for a while? And then do we come back to one heart, one place, that we're all in there together? And if we're all living our own individual realities of life and our individualities of death, then even more, I'm sorry, but tolerance is this big thing with me at the moment, that we need to be tolerant of each other's opinions about what's real and right and true for us. because you know we're not. Yeah, you're right. None of us are going to know. But what happens when we pass over, and what we think is actually what's true just for us. Something to put in the mix.
I asked, you know, Sophia that we saw yesterday, the medium that came out with us. So I said to her, well, how come some people stay here and, like, you know, haunt houses and things like that, whereas like our loved ones, we don't feel them in the house, and we feel they've moved on. What is it that keeps people stuck, souls? And she said, well, you could have, say, a young boy who dies with his parents, they all die together, but he might have had it might be a really traumatic death. And even though he was safe with his parents, he might still come back to the place where he actually died because he's confused, because it was such a shock and so traumatic that he's not quite sure what he should be doing.
Yeah.
You know, whereas the other two might have been certain, oh no, we're going to move on now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was really interesting.
But we talk about the different types of aliens. People say there are greys. They've got different names for the different aliens that exist that people have seen, and some are very valid stories. Who's to say that there aren't different experiences and different places that we can all go? So that some people might find that they can't cross over, or that they are here, and some people are gone forever. So, you know, the stories can go on and on and on. There was a really nice story up here as well. Kelly, I'm going to block your face again, Sammy, but can you read this for me? I don't want to block you. So go on, Sammy, could you read that one for me?
Maybe she can't see it.
Oh.
My mum nearly died last year in hospital. She said she saw my cousin and told him it wasn't her time. And the next day, the doctor asked her who, insert name, was, as she had been speaking to him for a few hours. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Time. As far as Henry Jackson's comments concerned, I think I can answer that one. Things I've dreamed happen within a few days to a few weeks later. As a clairvoyant, when I was a little girl as well, I would know, and it happens now, and I don't think about it, but it happens a lot with Honey and Lucy, most particularly Honey. I've always been able to say to my mum when I was younger, oh, Aunt Adeline's going to phone. And she'd say, well, no, she's not going to phone. She hasn't arranged a phone. And the phone would then ring, and it would be my Aunt Adeline who would phone her. So to me, that's almost a time lapse in the same sense of a smell coming towards you. So we go again about our senses. So if I explained it to you, Sammy, if I put a cup of coffee behind a curtain and I had no sense of smell, but none of you ladies, none of you followers had the sense of smell, but Sammy did, right? And we said, what is in that cup behind the curtain? And Sammy's got the sense of smell, and she go, well, it's coffee. It's quite clearly coffee. We go, holy shit! I mean, that's a sense, isn't it?
That's such a good, I think that's a brilliant interpretation of what that is with psychic gifts. It is, it's really good. I love that. She should call it from now on, smelling the coffee. Wake up and smell the coffee. Wake up and smell the coffee. Yeah. Well, I'm saying that there's really bad smells. So if you've got negative energy in the house, you can sometimes smell rotten eggs. You can smell sulfur. You can smell mildew. And in general, when you are smelling spirits that are coming from a very good place, it's rose, it's lavender. It's sometimes it's a scent that you can't describe. You've never smelled it before, but it's a really, really calming and uplifting. It's that I've had that smell before. It's a bit like the Orosoma oils. I don't know if any of you know those that you can put on your hands and smell them. And there's a perfume within that called Lady Nada, and that's like the smell of compassion. So if you could put a smell to compassion, that sometimes, particularly when I'm working with the dying, I feel that smell, and that energy comes in, and the people I'm working with also can sort of smell that smell, but it's not something that you can say is of the earth. We've never smelt it on an earthly way before. So I find that really fascinating.
I've got another example for you along the smell the coffee lines. So Janet Oakes here says, when I was eventually on my own in house and I was scared, someone who came to me who I can only describe as an angel and told me that they were there to protect me, I was never scared again. So if we go back to the sense of senses, and clairvoyance being the sixth sense, that we can have a premonition, that you could pick up a spirit if you're a medium, or you could pick up what's going to happen to somebody. if we were to open a bottle of milk and we smelt it, but that wasn't our sense of smell, it was something else, and that milk was off, we'd go, oh God, that's off, wouldn't we? We would know the milk is off. But I mean, if you didn't have that sense of smell, you'd think that's pretty weird. But off milk is so easy to smell, isn't it?
Oh,
and it would be like what? But maybe that sense of feeling a bad spirit, if we take it to the other level of a psychic level, is again that feeling of, mustn't touch it, shouldn't feel it. So I think that's another example as well, really.
And when I went to the London Tombs, I was.
Can I just interrupt? Sammy, scammer alert, sorry.
Oh. Already blocked.
Oh, well done, Sammy.
All hail, Sammy. All hail,
Sammy. All hail, Sammy.
Yeah, when I went to the London Tombs, I did have obviously a really weird feeling because we were in the London Tombs, but it was like chilled to my bones. But was that just because I know what's going to happen at the London Tombs because we know there's history there, or was that real? That's what I don't get. Like when we go to churchyards and when we look for haunted places, people see ladies in cloaks and, long dresses and things like that, because they're the typical things that you see. So is that because we know about things like that and we've heard stories, or are we really seeing it? That's what I'd love to know.
I think what's really fascinating, I was going to make a film about this, and oh gosh, in the 18th century, there was two women, they're headmistresses, and they were in the Palace of Versailles, and the book written about them is called The Adventure, and they saw a gentleman that came up to them and said, you must leave now, you must leave now, you must leave now. And they both saw it together, and many people had seen this, but they were taken to court over their that they're saying that this was true and that it was a made up thing. And yet so many different people from all over, and they fought in the courts for years and years and years and years to say that it was true, they had seen it, it wasn't made up. And in the end they were exonerated. And I think what's fascinating is that we can find out now that in the houses where you hear certain sounds or you hear voices or whatever, that actually slate, which is used in records to help records play, that slate holds sound and it releases sound at any time when it chooses to. So it's like releasing an echo. Yeah. And I think that's fascinating, that it's almost like slate having a burp of a memory of the sound of something, of horses' hooves or something like that. But science is kind of proving this out, that certain materials hold certain sounds for a long while and then release them. So I just
they say that about walls, don't they? Walls of houses have that contained in their walls, don't they? Memories in the walls.
And it's like residual energy.
Yeah, residual energy. Yeah,
things get trapped in the walls and the environment, and the mind can translate them into the images. Oh, I like that. Yeah.
So when Paris was little, those of you that have followed me when I sort of go roam about and go live when I'm just doing things, I like to play left or right game. And I went a little bit far one day, so I always like to carry my passport with me. So my son and I ended up with my mother in France, and we did the left or right game, and we actually ended up going to the Palace of Versailles. That's how far we drove. And
you just keep turning left all the time. Is that how you do it? I love this.
It was more right, I think. But like you said about these people, it was the most eerily feeling place, the Palace of Versailles. I don't know if any of you followers have been there, but I mean, the feelings at the Palace of Versailles, I think in order to prove the point, my friend James Kislingbury, who owns the London Tombs, I think that us four and maybe a few of the Lengro family, I think we should go and spend the night there. Don't you think?
Definitely.
What, London Tombs?
Yeah, I can get some.
Okay, I want to go somewhere where, as long as there's no actors pretending to scare you, because the one thing that I'm petrified of is that actors that work in the London Tombs or any of those things, being an actress myself, is that you go completely mad, and that actually they might just then take their role so seriously that they cross a boundary. So I'm always frightened of rampant actors suddenly, getting into their role so much that they just decide to then actually use a real knife. So that's my fear, actors.
Well, when I went there, I went with my daughter, and obviously the actors were all there. and one jumped out on her, and she turned round and punched this poor woman behind us in the face. She just punched this poor woman was just standing there. That's Annie. She just punched her in the face. Oh my God, it was so embarrassing.
No. Oh,
I was so scared.
My son used to be in at Tully's farm, and they get very good auditioning processes and to be the scare people. And he was in the crooked house or the haunted house. Now, look, I know it's my son, okay? I know I'm going in, and I'm like, please don't. No, because I know he's going to really scare me. I can't bear it. And I went in with his aunt as well, and I thought, I'll be behind her because she's like you, Jack. She doesn't get scared of anything, and she's fine. But actually, it was completely the other way around. And I had to go first, and Ben's crawling on the walls towards me, and these other people are up there, and I am petrified of my own son, absolutely petrified. And I screamed all the way through, and I was the fastest person to go through there, apparently, ever. And Ben said, but Mum, you didn't see me. You didn't see my performance or anything. I said, no, that's fine, darling. Only when we're home with no makeup on and no spooky music and no cobwebs, and that will be fine. That's good, but it's really good.
Sammy, what do you think about children being more? Because I think Lily May is also an empath, your daughter, your beautiful daughter. But when the reason in a Romany gypsy family, like people often say, why do you let your daughters do readings? Or why were you doing readings when you were so young? And that's because in a gypsy family, there's the age-old belief that a child is so pure that they can pick up on so much more because they haven't been taught the limitations that horrible old natural life teaches us as we get older. What do you think about that?
I completely agree on that. When Joshua was younger, he used to say there was a man in his room, but he wasn't really scared of it. And he used to say every single night there's a man in his room. I often caught orbs on videos in there, but one night I was like, who is the man? And he was like, Mark. And I was like, okay. Basically, Mark is my brother who passed away. And he obviously was really little. He didn't know this.
Oh.
Yeah, so he didn't even know.
Do you know, we need to discuss work less and your stories more in future. Oh, I've really got hairs up my arms then. I really, really have. Do you ever get a bad feeling, says Chrissy, about people and you will not get on with them? Yeah?
I do.
Yeah.
So half the problem I have with clients is men and women. Half the problem I get with clients is they come to me and they say, I knew he was no good, or I knew she was no good. And you think, well, why didn't you listen to your gut instincts? Because we don't, do we?
We don't.
No.
We
don't.
We want a different ending, and that's the thing, isn't it? Our psyche's very good at manipulating things to the outcome that we think we want, but we don't face the reality of what's really there. And how many times have we all gone, oh, I think I can change that person, and I'll be able to help them to grow, and it will all be fine. But it's not always going to happen like that. It really
It's an ego thing, isn't it? It's all about the ego. We don't want to admit that it's not going to happen.
Yes.
I think part of the problem is very often we live our life according to what other people tell us is a successful life, rather than what would appeal to us inside. Now, Sam at Lengro isn't here tonight. She's commenting there. She is the naughty one of the family. I don't know, how would you describe Sam, guys?
The naughty one of the family.
And she says, you're right, Claire. I love that. You just need to check out the ghost inside my child to verify that. I actually want to know, though, how is the party going? There's a party in her garden. And I want to know if Dad is behaving and did Brighton win? That's what I need to know.
Well, let me tune into my psychic powers. Dad is in the garden right now. He's played football and Brighton didn't win. All right, that's it. That's
Oh dear. When I get in my back garden later, there'll be a lot of unhappy, very drunk people that will be shouting as well. I love what Amber Redmond said, which can I take this to use for my clients in future, please? Because I do like a proverb. Look at that. Love is blind and you switch the psychic bit off. Yeah. Tell the divorce lawyer that. Oh dear. You got it wrong. Brighton won. And the parents are very drunk.
No, you were drunk, Sam, and you didn't realise they didn't win.
Yeah. And Brighton,
And
and did you know that my mother actually in her heyday, because I was born and bred in Brighton, my mother used to be the Brighton mascot.
oh,
Did she?
Love that.
she never
Yeah.
grew, Mum.
And we've got Lewis here. And Lewis, I said to Lewis is a Gemini, and Lewis has just joined my private members club. Lewis was off to the pub. Lewis was a Gemini, and I said Geminis sometimes have two names because Katie Price is a Gemini. She's also known as Jordan. It's very common. Lewis's nickname is Mariah, after Mariah Carey. I also downloaded a video that Lewis had sent me of his singing. But more importantly, Lewis, I did ask you as a Gemini, when you went to the pub tonight, instead of talking to others and giving yourself to others, to see what others gave to you tonight. So now that you've been to the pub and you've come back, how did our experiment go? Did people turn out to be arseholes, or did you meet some nice people by trying our test? That's what
Well, he says he's slightly tipsy, so we might not get a very accurate answer.
Could have gone either way with that.
Someone's lying. Like, you
Well,
don't
Justin was sober, so that's rubbish, Sam.
No.
So, Claire, darling, tell us a little bit more about your readings and what's going to happen. Are you doing any readings today? What's there tonight?
Well, do you know, I was going to, we've got about 9 minutes left, so I can do some readings if people would like me to, but do you know what I would like to do? I'd like to do what I always do in our Lengro lives, and I'd like to ask for the help of the ladies as well. So to end the show tonight, we have got some celebrity gossip. I'm going to ask you, while we bring up some celeb gossip, to tell me your problem and to tell me your star sign. I will turn a card for you, or some cards. Amanda will also give her advice. We're going to ask Sammy as well for some advice on this, and Jack as well. So if you're willing, after our last almost hour, to trust advice with us ladies, then tell us your problem, tell us your star sign, and we're going to tell you very bluntly what you should do with it. I'm very, very glad that you've got a number, Lewis. I'm very happy for you, Lewis, indeed. But in the meantime, while you tell us your problem, be brave tonight, and we're going to try and help you solve a problem. Jack, could you please tell me about, let's have a little look. I'm just going to bring up a picture now. Hold on. Oh, this looks a bit, what's this one about, Jack?
Oh, so Line of Duty. It's the last Line of Duty episode tomorrow. So has anyone been watching it out there? You must have all been watching it. Well, last week's episode apparently attracted 11 million viewers. It was the most watched episode ever.
Wow.
I think what makes Line of Duty, because you girls, I can't believe, have not seen Line of Duty. I just don't even know what to say.
He's selling off milk.
But I think what's so brilliant about that program is anything can happen. It's so unpredictable. You think someone's safe, and then the next minute they're dead. You know, that's what makes it so brilliant. And it's been said it's one of the biggest TV shows of its era. And also everybody watches it at the same time. You know, with a lot of these series, you watch the whole series in one go. On Netflix, you watch the whole set. Well, you can't with this. You have to wait for the next week. So nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow, which is brilliant.
That's so much better, because then everyone can be in it all together. I love that.
Yeah, see, Sam, you should have been here, Sam, because we could have talked about it. She's watching the series, ready for the finale tomorrow. It is absolutely fantastic.
Guys, as well, when you're putting a problem, give us a problem we can solve with a few more details for the Lengro show, because it's quite late towards the end now. So I will be on doing readings 5 times a week from now on as well. But let's have a look at Sam's comment as well, because she's got a slight problem. Then I'll bring up another picture, Jack.
Oh, is that the problem we've got to solve? That's quite easy. You just add alcohol, darling.
Sammy, what do you
make it large?
Add some whiskey to the water, and it will taste different. Is that all right?
Yeah.
She doesn't know how to do that, bless her.
That's the beautiful Michelle Heaton, who's actually checked herself into rehab last week to seek help for her problems with alcohol. Now, it's believed she's been suffering from some, medical issues from the effects of the hysterectomy that she'd had in 2012 and a double mastectomy she had in 2015, because Michelle carries the BRCA2 gene, which means she's at higher risk of developing cancer. She said that due to early menopause that she's been through, she's lost most of her hair, and there was only about 4 or 5 inches left, as her hormones have made her hair snap. And she said, for the last 3 months, my body was yelling at me in more ways than one, and I didn't know why. But her husband says, no one should suffer in silence, but it takes real strength to speak up and do something about it. And he also said she's doing her family proud. So I'm really glad that she's gone in to have some help, because she's so lovely.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I actually read her book when she had the menopause early and she had to have the hysterectomy. And it was so, so touching. So she's definitely been through a real journey. Let's have a quick look at these ones.
Oh, they're all the Line of Duty ones. They're all...
what about this one?
Oh, Kelly Osborne. So she's revealed that she relapsed after almost 4 years of sobriety. She said lockdown had played a huge part in it. And it was the end of lockdown that she had a nervous breakdown, which she found amazing because she'd done so well all the way through. But she said she started to drink casually, but then she couldn't manage her drinking. And she said she is an addict and she can't drink like a normal person. But luckily, she's now getting back on track.
Hasn't she lost a lot of weight there?
Yeah, she looks amazing. She really does.
I love her hair.
Nice. I love that hair. Oh, what's that?
Well, that's all Line of Duty. See?
Okay, well, let's get Line of Duty off and let's do some work now, ladies. Let's take a comment to end the night on high. Let me have a little look. Oh,
Can
bless
I pick
you.
a comment?
Yes, you can pick a comment. I was just having a little look.
Where's she gone?
Oh, Lewis, God bless you. God bless you. And you got help. Lewis, well done.
Good.
To you. Okay, so go on, Sammy, take the lead. You are the boss girl. Come on.
Can I have a Dan McDonald? She said, just life, I'm so down. If I'm honest with you, Adele, I feel like you've got someone who's quite toxic around you and you need to get rid of them in your life. They're no good for you. You need to find a hobby that's going to take your mind off everything. Maybe go out in nature, take a walk, because I think that would really do you good.
I can't find Adele's comment, and I love your advice, and you advise all of us all the time, and you're absolutely amazing with that. Can you just remind us or what Adele's problem was? So
She's just saying she feels really down in life, but I feel like she's got someone toxic in her life that's really bringing her down, and that's why she's feeling like this.
Oh,
So,
bless.
Sam, you're using your intuition to pick up on
Yeah,
what
it's just
down
what
about.
I picked up with her as soon as I saw her comments. But I do feel like she just needs to get out there, connect with nature. Do you know, just go out and clear your mind a little bit. Take a bit of time for you.
Yeah. And something
Absolutely.
when you feel down, I like the expression, when you're feeling down, look up.
I don't understand Amber Redmond's problem. Her problem says chocolate biscuits. What's the problem?
No problem whatsoever.
No problem.
The crumbs go in the
Moving on.
day. That is a problem. Apart from that,
Moving on. Okay, let's go for this one, ladies. And I'm going to leave this to you ladies, actually, for the moment. Go on.
I'm trying to find the best word, maybe best way to get my mum to think positive.
You've always got to have hope. That's what I say. Hope in every situation, because if you've got hope, you can get through anything.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. And I think how you find hope at that time is, I would say to Linda, acknowledge whatever your mum is feeling right now. So don't shortcut. Sometimes what happens is why people don't think positively is because they haven't actually allowed the grief or whatever is going through them to come through. So I would always say, allow room for that instead of saying, oh, we've got to cheer up. We've got to be positive about this. We've got to be positive about that. Because sometimes that's really not good. You have to be brave enough to let that pain through and then let the sunshine come out. So it may be your mum needs a little bit more time. There's some really great neurolinguistic programming techniques, which I can share with you another time, which help you change your state really, really quickly and will make you laugh at the same time. And that often works with a lot of people that are also quite severely depressed. It won't cure the depression, but it will lift it for enough moments for them to realize, oh, that's what a new normal could feel like.
Yeah.
And it's about mindfulness as well, isn't it? You have to think about the now. Don't think about what happened. Don't think about the future. And if your mind starts going in that direction, bring it back to now, to what's happening now. You know, even if it's just getting out of bed in the morning, think, okay, I need to get out of bed, what I need to do, and just take little steps. What I would say.
I'm going to come to Sammy next. Let me go next. You say that are you a Leo, Linda? Because I do know the one thing as an astrologer about Leos is it's such a proud sign. And sometimes when we try and help our own mums, then our own mum, if we're a Leo, doesn't want to help because they don't want your help because they're your mum. They want to play the mum role, so they almost sort of say they're all okay, but you can see that they're not okay. So what I'm thinking, you know, is there anybody else in the family that can help? Sam at Lengro as well, who says she's on water, I'm not sure about that, says hope, faith, and love. I think you need all three to get through everything. And I think just keep loving mum, you know, and maybe when she's ready to talk, she will. Sammy, over to you, babe.
I don't think I can add anything else, honestly. I think you three have given the most amazing advice there.
Yeah.
I think one thing you could do is give her something like a beautiful rose quartz that I've got here, which is a heart-shaped rose quartz. And I use this so that she could have a touchstone. So every time she feels something that's negative, you could give her this as a gift of love, something like similar to this. And she can hold that and allow that feeling of when I hold this in my hand, I'm holding hope and I'm holding positivity in my hand. So sometimes a concept that becomes a mental concept of positivity, if you have something physical that's like a totem that represents positivity, she will start to kind of hold it more often, feel that, and actually that can really help for a lot of people.
Okay, Linda Goldsmith Black, here's what I'm going to do to wrap the show up tonight. I'll put the message up from Chris Wheatley there as well, but Leslie Anthony has helped me out here. I have just over here on my sideboard over here the most amazing rose quartz thumbstone worry stone that's heart-shaped. If you would like to inbox me and contact me, then I would like to send that as a free gift to your mum from me as an outsider bit of help, just to show mum a bit of love and support from the outside, to show that you've reached out. And maybe if she can hold something from a gypsy, from a clairvoyant, that I would send direct to you with a pink grapefruit pick-me-up rollerball as well. That's a gift from me and all of our family here at Lengro. And maybe that physical thing, just as Amanda had said, from us to you. And I hope that ends your night on a high, or not on a high, but I hope that gives you a little bit of peace of heart, because you're not alone. And mum's not alone either. What do you think of that, ladies?
Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
That about wraps it up. I've done 3 hours of lives. I'm so ready for bed. I'm having the night off tonight, and I think I might be made to watch horror films. But I am back from Monday, 5 days a week. And you can also join my private members club, where I pop in all the time and watch this space in the weeks ahead for some exciting news to come your way. But please give Sammy some love as well. You're going to see plenty more of her now. We're not letting her go now that she's on screen. So thank you so much. Say good night, ladies, while I find the outro video.
Good night.
And thinking of you as well. We'll light a candle for you and your family. Yeah.
Look after yourselves, guys, and love each other. Bye-bye.